Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Piyush. This is day 26 in 30 days of AWS Terraform. And in this video, we'll be looking into HashiCorp Cloud Platform or HCP. We'll try to understand what it is, why do we need it, and how it is different from the CLI based Terraform that we were using till now. And we'll be doing the demo as well. So if you are new here, hello, my name is Piyush, and in this channel, we simplify cloud and DevOps concept into bite-sized chunks so that anyone can understand it, even for a beginner. We do that with the help of demos, practical examples, and real-time projects, and this is what we always do. And if you have just started watching this series, I would suggest starting from the beginning, from the day zero onward, so that you get to know the details about 30 days of AWS Terraform challenge, how to participate, how to win prizes. And it's basically a learning journey that we are in this together. And so let's dive into the video. We'll start with understanding what exactly is this HashiCorp Cloud Platform. But before that, we need to understand what were the challenges with the existing system and why do we actually need this. Okay, so this is a visual code screenshot, right? The one that we were using till now. So you see, we were creating multiple files over here, and there were many challenges with it. What were these challenges? First is with the login credentials. Okay, so whenever we were trying to authenticate, we had to do like Azure login or AWS login, and it's basically asking you to provide your credential details. It's not stored anywhere unless you want to store it locally in your shell or environment variable. So there was no secure way of doing that, right? Then it comes to secrets. So secrets were encoded but not encrypted, and there were no good way of using it without using a third party service or even like HashiCorp service such as HashiCorp Vault or AWS Secret Manager, and if you were using Azure Key Vault and so on, right? So there was no inbuilt mechanism to store and use the secrets within Terraform. Then there was no automation workflow or orchestration layer that's been provided to you, right? You have to run Terraform commands manually to provision and to manage the infrastructure. So there were no inbuilt CI/CD support unless again you use a third-party tool such as GitHub Actions or Azure DevOps pipeline, AWS pipelines, and so on. Right? There was nothing inbuilt within Terraform. Then the modules that you had, like the custom modules that you have created, so you were creating it and you were using it locally from your machine. There is no registry inbuilt within that Terraform offerings that you can use to upload your custom modules and use that further, right? um, and unless again you use a third party registry to store your modules. Then we had the issue about the environments. So you had to duplicate your code if you want to deploy the same code to multiple environments, which is again not a good way of doing the things, right? So there were all these challenges, and these challenges were solved by HCP, which is HashiCorp Cloud Platform. It's a GUI based offering. Okay, and yes, it comes with the free trial as well. There are some limitations, but you can use it, and we'll use it right after we finish understanding what it is. So it's a GUI based. It has inbuilt integration with the Git repo. So earlier we were using Git cloning, and we were pushing the code to Git, and then Terraform was taking the code from there, or we had to first pull the code. Now we don't have to do anything. As part of the workflow run, or as part of your Terraform code execution, it will check out the code by itself, right? So you don't have to do that extra steps of pulling the latest code every time you want to run. Then it has inbuilt workspace and projects, so you can divide your Terraform organization into multiple projects and workspace. Again, we'll look into that shortly. Then it has inbuilt place to store your variables. Again, you don't need a TFVAR files now. There is a place where you can store your variables, even your credentials, your secret variables, and your state file. So that means we don't need a backend.tf, or we don't need a remote backend now if we are using HCP. Then it has inbuilt support for private registry. Private registry as in you can create your modules and you can push your module to the Terraform registry and you can use that right away, right? So there were a lot of features that was needed for a production grade project, but it was missing in the CLI based Terraform, and it's been provided by HCP. Now let's try to understand the format of it, is like how does it work. Okay, so at the root of it, you start by creating an organization. Okay, so organization is at the root layer. So organizations such as, let's say for my channel or for my series, or let's say if this were the name of my company, I start with creating an organization with the name Tech Tutorials with Piyush. Then organizations have multiple projects. You can create multiple projects within your organization. Now what are these projects? So these could be, let's say you have separated as per your environments, or you have separated as per your cloud provider if you are using multiple cloud providers, right? So let's say you created one project for Azure, one for AWS, one for GCP, and so on. And inside each project you can create multiple workspaces. Now workspace is a further segregation of project, or you can say that a collection of similar workspaces creates a project. Now what type of project you can create? You can create, like let's say we have 30 different folders created for 30 videos, so you can create one workspace for each of the day, or you can create a project for each environment or each application. Let's say test, dev, and prod. Okay, you can do that as well. So it's based on how your organization has which organization hierarchy you are using to manage and to maintain your projects. So you can use these things as well. Okay, now you must be thinking, what do we mean by a test workspace? Okay, so workspace is nothing but a collection of, oops, that's too big of a font, let's keep it small. Okay, so a workspace is nothing but a collection of TF files together to provision the infra. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Let's say you have created a day 3 project in which we just created an S3 bucket, right? So all the files for that S3 bucket can go to a workspace. Okay, or let's say you have created something else. Let's say over here is our GitHub repo, and let's say in let's go over here. So let's say day 14 in which we did static website hosting, a mini project, right? So you can create a workspace for static website hosting, so that all your related components are grouped together in a single workspace, in a single placeholder, so that let's say you have hosted your maybe portfolio website using that, right? So all your files of your portfolio website will be there in one dedicated workspace, right? So we are just logically separating your files. So that's the benefit of using a workspace. Okay, now it has, so there is workspace. Okay, and in workspace we understood like there are variables, state files, registry, version control, plus it is GUI based, so it will have history, logs, runs, etc. Like you can see everything in a pipeline. But then to use a workspace, you start with creating something called as a workflow. Okay, so a workflow is, let me just squeeze it a little bit to make it readable. Okay, and all right. So workflow have multiple options. You can use multiple workflows. First is a version control based. What do you mean by that? That means you place your code in Git repo, okay, and you integrate that Git repo from the workflow, and that's it. Your code will be checked out every time from the Git repo, or whenever you make the changes over there, it will be executed and latest changes will be applied. Then there is CLI based. CLI based meaning the one that we were using. So let's say we were using this. Okay. And over here, let's say we have day 16 folder. Okay. So we map this day 16 folder, which is locally on our machine. We map this with the workspace in Terraform Cloud. And whatever commands we run over here, let's say we run Terraform apply, Terraform plan, it will be executed in the GUI, right? In the real time. Logs will be exported in the GUI, backend variables, everything can be used from the GUI. So that's another powerful feature, which is CLI based. And then there is API based, which is like nothing but making API calls to the workflow. And again, you make the API calls from your code, from your whatever supported language you are using, and it will be executed on the GUI. Right. So that's basically the gist of what exactly is Terraform Cloud, what is a workspace, what is project, how do we separate these together. Now time for the demo. So let's jump into the demo and let's see how does it actually works. Okay, so let me just log into my Terraform. You can go over here to portal.cloud.hashicorp.com, or you can just search HashiCorp Cloud login. Okay, so it will redirect you to this page. Or you can go over here HCP Terraform. I think that would also redirect you to the same page. Now you can create an account. So I already have an account, but let's start from the very beginning so that you can follow along. So let's hit on create an account, give it a username, email, and a password. Okay, so let's give it a username, Piyush underscore Sachdeva. Oops. Let's give it a email, tutorials with Piyush @gmail.com. Let's give it a password. Okay, I agree to terms of use. I agree to privacy policy. Create Terraform account. Okay, password must be 8 character long. All right, so let's give it a secure password and hit create. Now it says we have sent you an email confirmation. So that's what we're gonna do. I have got the confirmation over my phone. So let me just accept it. And basically, yeah, you just need to click the link provided in the email and it will verify as soon as you do that. Oh, it says you need to sign in and sign up before continuing. So let me just sign in as well. Okay, let me show you over here. Just give me a second. Okay, so here's the email. It says click on this link. Let's click on this link. Okay, and now you are logged in. Now, when you log in for the first time, it will ask you to create your first organization. Okay, so it will ask you, you have to create an organization. There is no other way to proceed further. Okay, so let's hit on creating the new organization. And now it says create a new organization, and it's not editable after the creation. So make sure you choose the details carefully, because there is a business option and personal option. With business option, it says there will be some charges associated with it later on, and it will have some different format or pricing. So let's go ahead with the personal one for now. Give it a unique name. Okay, and let me give the same name, Tech Tutorials with Piyush, and here's my email address. Hit create organization. Name has already taken because I might have used it earlier. So let's call it Tech Tutorials with Piyush 2. Okay, hit create. Okay, now my organization has been created over here, as you can see. And if you go to click manage organization, you can create more organization as well if you are using personal. If you are using business, I believe with the free version, there is only one organization that you can create. Okay, and that's the organization type, which is standalone. Okay, so now I'm in my organization. In organization, now we have projects, workspaces, registry. We'll look at all of these one by one, but first we'll start with the projects. So as I've told you, there is we need to create multiple projects to segregate our resources. We can separate it with the cloud provider, we can separate it with the application, or however you want to do that. So um, the way we did it in this particular example, we separated it with the cloud provider. But instead of this, you can do that as well. Like instead of a cloud provider, you can see, let's say you have multiple applications, right? You have you have like, let's say this organization is nothing but a bank. Okay, let's call it some bank, CIBC bank. Okay, so like this is the bank that I used to work before, so I'm just giving an example of this. Now the bank have different verticals, like they have different line of businesses, so these projects could become those line of businesses. Okay, the reason I'm giving you this example, so that I can give you a real time example of how it works in an organization, right? So let's say with this bank, you have multiple line of businesses. You have commercial banking. Okay, commercial banking. You have personal banking. You have foreign exchange, right? And similarly, you have other things like treasury. You have, what else do we have in the banking? So you have derivatives. Okay, so these could become your separate projects. Okay, and now in each project you can create multiple workspaces for each of the environment, like test, dev, and prod. Okay, so now this looks more like a real time example. So let's go back over here, and there is a default project that's been created. You can create your own project. Let's call it test. Okay, and you can add tags over here if you want, or hit create. Now as soon as I created the test project, I automatically went inside the test project. You can go back, right? And you can click on the test project. And over here, now you can create workspaces. It says add your first workspace. Now, if you remember the workspace, they have different option to create the workspace. Let's click on create a workspace. We have three options: version control. Okay, it is best for those who need traceability and transparency, because we are using version control, and like I don't have to explain the benefits of using a version control. I'm sure you all are aware of it. Then there is CLI driven workflow. It is comfortable, best for those who are comfortable with Terraform CLI and don't want to use version control for some reason. Okay. Then we have API driven workflow, best for those with custom integration and pipeline, where you are using your own SDKs and you want to um, trigger the run or trigger the workflow using your API calls, right? So let's start with this version control. Now, as soon as you select, it will ask you to connect to a version control provider. And the version control that it supports is GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure DevOps. These are the integration available for you to use. Let's select with GitHub. Okay, now with GitHub as well, there are multiple options. GitHub.com, which is the public offering, free version. GitHub Enterprise, which is a paid enterprise version. And then there is custom GitHub.com for the custom domain. Let's go ahead with github.com. It will ask you for authentication. Let's select the organization. This is my organization. Now select the repository where your code resides. So what we'll do, we'll try to pick some basic example. Okay. So let's pick something from the starting videos. Let's pick this day 3. Okay. Day 3, it will have just an S3 bucket creation. So let's go back, select repository, and search for AWS, Terraform full course AWS. And inside that, click on advanced option. Now you need to select your working directory, because in my directory, there are multiple mono repos, and inside that, there are different folders for each of the day, right? So we need to select day 3 folder. So you need to select your working directory. And what is the working directory? It's so if you go over here, and you can see working directory is inside lessons day 3. Okay, so let's select this lessons and day 3. Let me just quickly verify. Yeah, day 03. Okay, now it says Terraform will change into this directory prior to execution any option. So it will run all the commands inside this particular directory, which is the day3 folder. Okay, over here. Now it will have a main.tf, which has just a resource, a simple resource provisioning. Okay. Let me just change the name because this bucket might already be existed. I might not have deleted it. Let's just give it 101. Okay. By the way, Bev, you might have seen this name in multiple videos. Bevov is my teammate who helped me with the content. So that is why it's not like I have not stolen this content from somewhere. It's part of my, like, he's part of my team. So he helped me with a lot of content these days. Right. Okay. So Terraform working directory lessons day 03. Then there is an option in which you can select to use auto apply along with your commands, right? So unless it will wait for the prompt. Do you want to continue? Yes, then it will continue. So it is good if you want to verify your run before the execution, and it is better for your prod environment mostly. For the lower environment, you can click these options auto apply on, right? Now the trigger type, if you have a git flow implemented in your project, then you can use like whichever branch you want to trigger it on. Otherwise, just you can go ahead with the default branch. Let's just keep it default, which is main branch for me. And it says automatic run triggering. That means whenever there is a change, it will always trigger the run. Or you can select this option which says only trigger when the files in specified path changes. Okay, so let's select this, and you can provide the pattern or the prefix. Okay, so pattern, for example, like it's a regex, right? So pattern, let's say I just want this to be triggered when any file inside day 03 folder changes. Okay, and you can add more things like, star.tf. If any Terraform file change, only then trigger it. Okay, then yeah, that's it, and hit create. So now I have created my workspace, but it says it might need some variables for the authentication, right? We have not provided it yet. And over here, do we have a backend file? Let's see. I don't think we have a backend file in this because this was like right in the beginning where we did not cover the backend. So that's why it does not have a backend. Okay. So let's go over here and hit start a new plan. And I will show you when it throws the error, I will show you how to fix those errors as well. Okay. So run name. Okay. Demo run first. Okay, then run type is either plan and apply or just refresh the state. Plan only, there are multiple options. Okay, so plan and apply. And enable debugging mode, it will enable the debug logs as well. So let's keep it default and hit start. Okay, it says triggered, plan queued, waiting for the resources. Now you can also cancel the run in between if you want, but for now it is just doing the planning as in Terraform plan command it is executing. So let's wait for it to do its thing. You see, it says no valid credential source found because we did not provide any credentials, right? So it is failing to reach the metadata server. It is not able to authenticate to your AWS provider. Now this is just a plan failed. It's still waiting. It's not timed out yet, so it will fail for sure. So let's go back to run, and yeah, it's errored out, right? And if you go back again over here, you can check the logs. You can download the raw logs. It will show you the complete log, but we know the issue, what the issue is, right? So now what we need is we need to go to variables and we need to set the variable for the authentication. Now there are multiple options. So there is workspace variable, there is, and you can also create sensitive variable for your credentials, or you can create variable set as well, which you can apply to multiple uh, runs or multiple workspaces. Let's hit add a variable, and you can use a Terraform variable which will be used by Terraform code itself, or you need to use environment variable, which is what we need in this case. Okay, so let's check the Terraform documentation. Terraform registry AWS login. Okay, let's go over here and let's see the variable that we need for authentication. So go down, and basically we need access key and secret key. But the variable that we need, environment variable, is AWS access key ID and AWS secret access key, and optionally AWS session token. So we don't need that for now. So, but we do need these two, right? AWS region, it will take from the file, it will throw the error, then we'll see. But for now we need these two. So AWS access key. Okay, and I can check the, or I can create a new access key. Okay, let's go to IAM. Users, and here's my user. Let me create a security credential and create access key over here. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, CLI. Okay, and yes, I understand. Hit next. Tag value, let's call it TF demo. Hit create. Now you can copy your access key from here and paste it over here, access key, and let's select sensitive. Okay, and again create one more variable, type environment variable, and the name should be AWS secret access key. Okay, hit sensitive, and this is the value, secret access key. So let's paste it over here and hit add variable. Okay, it's been added. Now let's try it again. Click on new run. Okay, hit start. Okay, ideally now it should authenticate. If there are any error, there should be some other error, but not specifically to authentication or the error that we saw, which is failure to connect with metadata server. That shouldn't be the case now. Okay, it says one plan to create. What are we creating? S3 bucket. If you expand this, it shows you the details, the output of the Terraform plan, everything on GUI, right? Tags and the name, everything. Then here it is applying, because we selected the option, right? Auto approve. That's why it is applying automatically. I will show you what will happen when you don't select that option. Okay. It says it's done. It's created, and state file version has also been created over here. So if you go over here, states, and you see here is the state file. I think, yeah, here is the state file. You see it has everything. So it created a state file in that workspace for that run, right? You don't have to create the backend, you don't have to create other details. If you had the backend file over there, it would have thrown the error, right? I will show you that. Okay, now let's go back to overview. Okay, and let's try to edit that workspace. Workspace is basically, now that you have understand, workspace is basically a file, right? So because I have integrated it with the GitHub repo, you see our GitHub repo details are visible over here as well now. So this is the readme file from the GitHub repo. Okay, now if you want to make any change to it, let's see how we can make the change to the workspace itself from here. So here is the resource. Okay, and click over here, update settings. Now it says auto apply. Let's remove this. Okay, and I think this is auto saved. Yeah, it's auto saved. Let's go back, hit new run. Let's hit start. Okay, now it will plan, but currently it will not make any changes because we have not made any changes to the Terraform code itself, right? So let's wait, and now it will show you that no changes have been found. So what we'll do is we'll make some changes on the GitHub repo and let it auto run. Okay, so it says no, your infrastructure matches the configuration, no changes, and there is no apply. Apply will not run over here, you see. So now let's go back to our GitHub repo, edit this file, and instead of this, let's add one more bucket. Okay, let's give it 102. Okay, and bucket 2. Okay, tag is my bucket 2 for test. That's it. Commit the changes. And now we are also testing the auto triggering of the workflow. So let's go back and hit on runs. Do you see any run? You see, it just started. A few seconds ago, it's planning. And the run is done via, it says triggered a run from GitHub. The earlier run was showing triggered a run from the UI or from the GUI. Right now it has been triggered from the GitHub itself. It auto triggered it. It says file changes detected in the track directory, because we specifically said if there are any changes in the day3 folder in any of the TF file, then trigger the run. So that's what it did, and based on this commit ID. Now over here, you see it has provided the, okay, it did apply the changes which I didn't want. It did not ask for the input. Maybe we are missing something, but here is like it added the new resource 102, and then it applied the changes. But we didn't want that, right? So maybe there is some other setting that we missed. So let's go back to the workspace. Okay, and where is the workspace? Let's go back to the workspace. This is the workspace, and view settings. Okay, and okay, so this one, let's remove this and save settings. There are many other options. You can play around with it, like what it is, why do we need it. And let's make one more change. Now what we'll do is we'll delete the new resource that we have added, the new S3 bucket. So ideally it should destroy this resource. Okay, I have deleted it. Let's commit the changes. Okay, and let's go back, workspace. Let's see if it triggered anything, where it is runs. And yeah, it triggered it. Let's go over here. Says run details triggered from GitHub, and it will show you what changes. It says one resource to destroy. Okay, it's still running the plan. And now over here it says apply pending, and it will ask your permission. So you can discard the run, or you can confirm and apply. Okay, so this is like a prompt when you run Terraform apply without the auto approve flag. Okay, so let's say confirm and apply, only then it will execute it. Okay, let's say approved. Okay, hit confirm plan. So this step is a good option if you are handling the Terraform pipelines or workspaces in a production environment. So there is always a good to have, like one of the best practices to have a manual approver or the manual check before actually making any changes to the production live environment, right? Because someone might have accidentally done it. So you want to avoid all those things, right? So it says deleted one resource, the additional resource has been destroyed now. Okay, so that's the Terraform run for the, like we have tested it for the couple of options. Now let's go back again and create another workspace. Okay, hit workspace, select the project. Let's select the test project, create. Now choose the workflow. Now the workflow that we want is CLI driven. Okay, Workspace name is, let's give it a name, TFCLI. Project is test. That's cool. Hit create. It's been created. Now it will give you the options how you can map your local folder with this Terraform workspace. Okay. So first let's select the folder which we want to map. Let's select day 4. In day 4, what did we do? Day 4 has a backend and S3 bucket, VPC, AWS instance, and so on. Okay, so let's select day 4. Okay, now what we need is, where am I? AWS TF day 04. Okay, I'm inside this folder now. Now it is saying you to first run Terraform login command. Okay, so let's copy this and execute it over here. And it says, now, do you want to proceed? Yes, I want to proceed. Now it will prompt this window and it will generate a token for you. Okay, create a user token that will expire in so many so days. So let's say it will expire in 1 day. Hit generate token. Now here's the token. You can copy the token. Okay, and let's go back and enter the token value over here. Okay, done. You have entered the token value and now it says welcome to HCP Terraform. And basically you are over here in the, you have retrieved the token for the user and you can now run your commands to execute it on Terraform Cloud over there, right? So let's go back, go to org and then go to TFCLI workspace. Okay, and now it says add a code block to a Terraform configuration, which says basically you need to add this. So let's copy this and let's go back to your main.tf file. Okay, so instead of this you need to add the option from here. So let's keep the required workspaces, let's keep the backend, and let's just add this cloud option. Okay, so I've added cloud, organization, and workspace detail, right? You need to provide which organization are we referring to and which workspace are we referring to and so on, right? So now over here, let's run Terraform init. It says, you see, it says migrating from S3 to HCP Terraform, right? Because we already have a backend over here in this file, it is migrating to HCP, but there are some error during initialization. And it says conflicting cloud and backend configuration block are present. Okay, so this is, remember, this is what I have told you earlier as well. If you are using Terraform Cloud or the HashiCorp Cloud Platform, you should not be having the backend details over here because it automatically manages it. So let's remove this part. We don't need the backend. Okay, save the file and run Terraform init again. Okay, now there is another issue which says incompatible Terraform version. The local Terraform version 1.3.3 does not meet the required version for remote Terraform workspace 1.14.0. So we need to upgrade our version to match the Terraform Cloud version over here. Okay, so it says if you want to upgrade the state, you can force Terraform to continue using ignore remote version. This may result in unusable workspace, which is what we don't want to do. So we can upgrade our version to 1.14. So Terraform hyphen version. Okay, it says the latest version is this. You can upgrade downloading from here. We are using 1.13.3. Let's try to see if I can upgrade it using brew upgrade Terraform. Please wait for it. Okay, so it's just running some updates. It totally depends how you have installed it, how you have downloaded the Terraform earlier. But over here, you see, I have used the brew, which is package manager for Mac OS. So it says upgrading outdated package from 1.33.3 to 1.14.3. But then it says there is some error, failure to execute this. Let me try doing a sudo. Maybe some permissioning issues. I don't know. Let's try it. Okay, it says no, it will not work in sudo because it's extremely dangerous and no longer supported. Okay, so let's run this brew upgrade command again. I think it worked this time. Okay, yeah, it worked. So let's run terraform hyphen version, and yes, it upgraded it to 1.14.3. So now let's run terraform init. Okay, it's migrating this, initializing provider, and it's initialized. Now if I run terraform plan, preparing the remote plan, that means the plan will be um, remotely available as well on the GUI, right? So let's go back over here and let's hit runs. So you see triggered via CLI, which is what we did. It is planning right now. Okay, and the details will be populated over here. Says no valid credential source found, because again we did the same thing. We did not use the credentials for this particular workspace. The credentials that we had was for the other workspace that we set. So let's go to variables, create a workspace variable, and type environment variable. Access key name is access key ID. So let's copy this and then hit sensitive access key. Okay, and the other one, which is also environment variable and sensitive, which is AWS secret access key. And then this is the secret access key, add variable, and let's go back over here and run tf plan again. So you see the difference between the first option and the second option. First with the GitHub with the version control, the other one with the CLI. So over in the first version, we just made the changes in our GitHub repo and it auto triggered it. But over here, we are mapping our local folder to the Terraform workspace and we are running the commands from the CLI and it is doing the same thing. Okay, so now it executed the plan. And over here, if you go to runs, so this is the second run, which is triggered via CLI. Says plan finish, 3 resources to add, and this is the output. It did not apply the changes because we did not run the terraform apply command. We just ran terraform plan, and that's what it did. It says 3 to add, 1 EC2, 1 VPC ID, and there is one S3 bucket. So 3 resources to be created. So again, if you run the terraform apply, it will show you the apply run over here and it will execute those things over there, right? So yeah, I think we have covered everything that we wanted to cover in this video. There is no point of dragging this further. I hope you understood it. I hope you are able to do the demo. Make sure you play around with it, understand all the different options that is available out there, and most importantly, understand what benefits does it have over the Terraform CLI, because this could be one of the interview question as well. And if you are preparing for the Terraform certification exam, so there could be some questions from this particular video as well. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow with the next video. Have a good day. Happy learning. Thank you.